We often find ourselves gripping tightly to many aspects of our life, like our past, our expectations of the future, and our beliefs about ourselves and the world. We hold on to them as if they're safety ropes keeping us secure, taking solace in the familiar, comfort in the predictable, and assurance in what we know. Yet, this enduring attachment might not always serve our best interests. It may limit our vision, confine our potential, and even tether us to a reality that stifles our growth and transformation. Across the ages, many thinkers have argued that the path to freedom and serenity lies not in holding on, but rather in our ability to let go. In this video, we'll explore the philosophical foundations of the concept of letting go, and how the different schools of thought guided us to use it as a way to liberate our minds. The moment we're born, we could think of it as if we're a blank, empty book. The story isn't written yet, and we're the authors. So, we have the freedom, and indeed, the responsibility to write our own story. We shape our own lives, carving out our destiny, sentence by sentence, and chapter by chapter. But often, we put ourselves in a box. We get caught up in memories from the past, which leaves us second-guessing ourselves, and as a result, becoming fearful of what's to come. These thoughts and memories can act like chains, keeping us trapped in one place and stopping us from exploring the new possibilities and adventures that life has for us. These stories echo in our minds in phrases like, "I can't do this," "I'm not good enough," or "things never work out for me." And if we're not careful, these thoughts can become self-fulfilling prophecies, shaping our future actions and decisions. Letting go in this sense is about embracing our freedom to shape our own lives and stepping up to the responsibility that comes with it. It's about casting off the heavy anchor of our past and giving ourselves the permission to navigate our own path, creating our own future. In traditional philosophy, it has always been thought that the essence of things precedes their existence. For example, a chair's chairness, or its essence, is seen as more basic than the fact that there's a chair in the room or its existence. However, existentialism, especially in the works of Jean-Paul Sartre, he challenged this notion. Sartre argued that for humans, existence precedes essence. That we first exist, and only then do we define our nature or essence through what we choose to do. So, we are radically free to shape our own lives. Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. In this quote, Sartre is expressing that humans, by their nature, are free to make their own choices, suggesting that our identity is not predetermined, but is something that we create. We arrive in the world as a blank slate, and it's our actions and choices that shape who we become. Letting go in this context means relinquishing any external attributions, excuses, or predefined narratives about ourselves and starting to live authentically. There's a Buddhist saying that goes, "Attachment is the root of all suffering." Much of our discontent and unease, according to Buddhist philosophy, stems from our tendency to cling to people, possessions, experiences, or outcomes. We often develop expectations and build up an idea of how things should be, creating a mental model that doesn't quite align with the unpredictable course of life. And when things don't go as per our diligently crafted plan, we find ourselves in a state of distress, weighed down by disappointment and regret. In this context, Buddhism teaches us that letting go is about releasing these burdens of expectations and regrets. It's about consciously accepting the transient nature of life and understanding that everything we know, including how we feel and situations we're in, even who we are, is always changing. It's like being on a moving train and watching the landscape outside the window shift. And when we accept that change is a part of life, we free ourselves from feeling trapped by disappointment. We're no longer hoping for things to stay the same or wishing we could go back to how things were. Instead, we can find a sense of peace that stays with us, because we know that change is a part of life and we're okay with it. As the influential Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If in our heart we still cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free." It's also crucial to clarify that letting go isn't about apathy or indifference. It isn't about shunning our goals or disregarding our emotions. Instead, it's about recognizing that everything is temporary and that we can't control everything. It's about knowing that life has highs and lows, like a wave. And when we accept this, we can face life's challenges and joys with the same calm mind and peaceful heart. like a skilled sailor navigating through a storm. It doesn't mean the storm is less powerful, but the sailor is more prepared. By letting it go, it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go. But when you try and try, the world is beyond the winning. Lao Tzu. Taoism, the ancient Chinese philosophy founded by Lao Tzu, upholds the principle of Wu Wei, or effortless action. At the core of this concept lies the idea of letting go of resistance and striving to live in harmony with the natural flow of life. Taoists believe that life, like a river, follows its own course. The river of life speeds up, slows down, takes sharp turns, and flows calmly, all depending on its inherent rhythm. If we surrender our need for control and refrain from swimming against the current, we would naturally align ourselves with the river's flow, harnessing the river's energy rather than fighting against it. This Taoist perspective encourages us to embrace life's uncertainties, to welcome the unknown and embrace the unexpected and unforeseen opportunities. It invites us to view change not as a disruption, but as a natural part of our existence, an essential component to the constantly evolving world that we're a part of. The master does his job and then stops. He understands that the universe is forever out of control and that trying to dominate events goes against the current of the Tao. This quote emphasizes the principle of Wu Wei, advocating that after doing our duty, it's wiser to step back rather than trying to exert continuous control over the situation. Because no matter how much we try, we can never completely control or predict the factors that shape our existence. Instead, Lao Tzu encourages us to let go of our resistance and to flow with life rather than against it. Letting go here allows us to cherish the journey as much, if not more than, the destination. It reminds us that life is less about control and more about our conscious engagement with our surroundings, our relationships, and our experiences. The process of letting go plays an integral role in building resilience, which is our capacity to adapt to changes and recover from hardships and adversities. It allows us to unburden ourselves from past disappointments, grievances, or mistakes, as well as to focus on the present moment with clarity and composure. The well-known Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Letting go, from a Stoic perspective, implies relinquishing our attachment to outcomes and instead focusing on our actions and reactions. It involves understanding that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond to it. It's about embracing the inevitable flux of life without being swept away by it. Applying the concept of letting go when facing obstacles and setbacks can help us cultivate resilience, so we can learn to see each challenge as an opportunity to learn, grow, and strengthen our character. It can also help us develop the ability to withstand adversity and bounce back from difficulties. In doing so, we move closer towards living a life of true freedom and tranquility, regardless of the challenges that come our way.